What's up, everybody? A Ward here, and I'm here to let you know that the A Ward Show is now officially brought to you by the Ripple to Wave Foundation, where they're manifesting waves of impact, one ripple at a time. Ripple to Wave empowers volunteers to create real change, from mentoring youth and protecting the environment to supporting those people in need. That includes seniors, veterans, and even animals. Yes, even animals. Every project is a chance to make your ripple in the community, and together, those ripples form waves of impact. The team at Ripple to Wave stays active with projects and events just about every weekend, and they're growing fast. Their Albuquerque, New Mexico team just launched their first project, and they're only getting started since their official launch on June 2nd of 2025. Get involved, volunteer, and learn more at rippletowavefoundation.org. That's Ripple, the number 2, wavefoundation.org. Follow them on all their socials at Ripple, the number 2, Wave Foundation on Instagram and Facebook, and subscribe to them on YouTube. Together, let's make some waves. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the A Ward Show. I am your host and engineer and curator and video. I am all the things. I am A Ward, and I thank you for tuning in to another episode. Make sure you hit that link tree. Make sure you hit that link tree and pull up on all my socials, man. Instagram, TikTok. You know the love has been real, and I love y'all. Make sure you subscribe, you like, you comment. Let your boy know what you think about what I'm doing every week, what I'm saying every week. And for those who can't watch the video, like I've said, go find your favorite audio podcast sharing platforms, and I'm there: Spotify, Apple, iHeartMedia, and so many others. And like I always say, if I'm not there, let me know. I'm pulling up. It was a very, very dope week. And definitely a dope Sunday for sports. I am shooting this on a Monday. I'm actually getting ready to head out for an anniversary vacation. But before we got on the road, I said, I got to shoot. I got to talk about these games. I got to talk about these games. So with no further ado, we're going to start with a segment where I talk about sports, but I probably have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. This is Yo No Say Nada. All right, let's start off like I normally do with the NFL. And we're going to start with the Thursday night game. Blades chopping, trunk popping. H-Town crawling like a caterpillar. Shout out to Paul Wall. H-Town beat the Buffalo Bills on Thursday night. And man, the story for H-Town this season has really been this defense, and I haven't really talked about it, but I think it's time to talk about it. I'm not going to get too much into the offense. Obviously, C.J. Stroud is hurt. I already let you guys know what I feel about that line, and his feelings don't change. The feelings don't change. They don't even have block caller on their phone. They can't block nobody, but this is not about them. This is not about that offensive line. This is about their defense, and specifically Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter, and just the whole defense from the line to the linebacking crew to the defensive backs. They had 8 sacks against the Bills, man. 8 sacks against the Bills. They, first of all, if you're an offensive lineman in the NFL and you line up and you see Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter, I know everybody in the NFL, man. They're big guys. They work out. They've been doing this stuff since, they were knee high to a centipede's toe. But man, these dudes look like monsters for the Texans. And yards per game through this point in the season and points per game, the Texans lead that, man. And there's just something about them kind of hanging around in these games. Like I said, obviously, C.J. Stroud is hurt. But Davis Mills has been, and I like this word, serviceable. And there's something about what he can do at the end of games. He is a true game manager, but he'll make a couple plays at the end of some games that will either keep you in the game or win the game. And when you have a defense that I think they're right around 16.5 points a game given up every week, leading the NFL. When you have a defense that doesn't give up points, all you got to do is just throw a couple on the board. And that defense, man, the story of that game was that defense. They just gave that Bills team fits. Now, James Cook had a solid game, but we know that at the end of the day, the Bills are going to live and die on the Josh Allen hill. I thought they probably should have leaned on James Cook a little bit more because he was having a decent enough game. But they just gave Josh Allen fits, and he made some bad decisions, turnovers, man. And the Texans, man, they stay super, super, super competitive in that division with the way things have been looking for the rest of that division. So, shout out to the Texans, man. Shout out to Paul Wall, Blaze chopping, trunk popping, H-Town, crawling like a caterpillar. If you know the lyrics, you know what I'm talking about. Shout out to Paul Wall, man. Shout out to H-Town. Packers scold the Vikings. J.J. McCarthy had another bad game, 2 interceptions. This was probably more about the Packers defense than their offense. Josh Jacobs doesn't play. But Wilson had a really, really good game. I think the kid's name is Wilson, the backup running back. Had a really good game. I thought they were going to get away from the run with Josh Jacobs not being in there, but they stuck right to it. Jordan Love played decent, played solid. That defense was on their ass, man. They was whooping the Vikings' ass. And J.J. McCarthy, the frustration, and here, look, I'll say this about Jetta, and I kind of talked about Jetta last episode. Jetta's not going to throw his quarterback under the bus. He came out and said the right things after last game. And during the week, he said the right things. But you can tell you can't go from the production that they had last year with Sam, and then you sell the team on like this, hey, but we got this young quarterback. He might not be as good right now, but he'll be good enough. We'll win games. We'll be competitive. And especially in that division that is extremely competitive. You were right there in the thick of things last year. Your whole thought process is, okay, we don't need to pay Sam. JJ's on a rookie deal. We can get some other pieces and do what a lot of teams have done is make a deep run into the playoffs. So I know their thought process was we will at least be around the same, if not better than we were last year. And that is not the case. Now, I will say this, outside of Jetta, damn near every receiver for them dropped the ball like crazy. So this is not all on J.J. McCarthy. There were so many drops in this game. You're like, come on, man. Drop. I don't know if I was watching a Vikings game or if I was in a strip club, because they was dropping it all over the place. Dropping it like it's hot. Dropping it like for the 99 and the 2000s. They was dropping it. But J.J. McCarthy is he's been inaccurate, interceptions, and they got to get that figured out. And then his whole like persona, the nine. Who gives a damn? Who just beat J.J. McCarthy and get Jetta the damn ball. That's all you got to worry about. Don't worry about the 9. Worry about the 2. The 2 interceptions that you threw during that game. At the end of the game, Packers hit him with the skull. Had the whole Green Bay crowd going crazy. So Packers, man, huge win for them with everything else that shaped out to be during this this incredible NFL Sunday. And we'll make the picture a little bit more clear as we get into some of the other games. Bominicious. I told you, don't you don't even have to call him by his name. He's running around telling the streets, you don't got to call me by my name. Just call me Bominicious. Because it's J, it's S, and N. Bominicious. And Seahawks dominate the Titans. Now, it ended up being a little bit closer game at the end of that. Kind of some points given up at the end. You can kind of tell, like, Seahawks were being a little bit more conservative at the end of that game just because they had really just whooped their butt the whole game. And, Cam Ward got sacked a gazillion times. Now, I think a lot of that is the line, but I do think he holds onto the ball too long. I think, a lot of that was said about Caleb Williams last year, and it's very true. And we'll get into that game in a minute. We'll get into that team in a minute. But this is really about Jazz. Like it's hard for me not to bring this guy up because he looks amazing every week. And through 11 games this year, he's already set the Seahawks receiving yard record for the season. He's at 1,300 and some change, and already has the record. And there's still 5 more games to play for them. So right around that. So like he might mess around and get about, he gonna be pushing like 2,000 early. He's gonna be pushing about 2,000 yards. Now the MVP conversation on all of that's probably going to go to a quarterback, so I'm not even going to entertain that. But he is playing at a super high level. And the one thing that Sam Darnold knows how to do, he knows how to find his number one receiver, and he just finds him. But JSN can be played at basically any receiver position on the field. Like he can play the slot, he can play outside. And now with the addition of Rashid Shaheed, they're getting those tight ends involved a lot more. The running game was really good for them as well against the Titans. Charbonnet, I think, had a touchdown. Kenneth Walker did some things in this game. Kind of running back by committee is how they do it there, which a lot of teams do if you're smart. It's kind of the new way to do things. If you don't have a bell cow, most teams don't. But JSN, like 167 yards, something like that. A couple of tubs. Set the season receiving yard record for the Seahawks, and he still got a lot more game to play. So I would not be surprised if he's sitting right around 18, 19 the end of the season, for sure. Bominicious. The Bears still winning. They played the Steelers in what seemed to be a solid matchup. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers was out, game time decision, so Mason Rudolph ended up getting the start. And but here's the thing, the Bears had a bunch of guys out on defense. Like, had no starting linebackers, bunch of guys out. So it kind of, to me, when you have a game like that, we're like, well, the starting quarterback's not playing. The starting quarterback's not playing. Okay, well, the start defense wasn't playing, so what are we talking about? And they played very well defensively in the beginning of that game. Offensively, you know how I feel about the run game. They found Monungai. Man, kid is balling and is setting up better play action for Caleb Williams. I'm a PA guy all day. Run the ball, set up the play action. I'm going to say it every week. Y'all going to get tired of me saying it, but I'm saying it. And Caleb's making some really good decisions schematically, the way they called the plays. I mean, there was one touchdown that Caleb Williams threw that the guy he threw to was wide open, and so were the other three guys on the field. I looked up, I was like, hold on, he's open. It was a pick 'em. I was like, all right, well, you get a touchdown right now. It was Oprah. You get a touchdown. And Manun guy, the run game, man, the way they've really inserted this it looks closer to the Ben Johnson offense that we saw in Detroit. And he's got Caleb Williams playing really, really good. They're at the top of that division right now. Now, I will say this. There's something to be said about the Bears have been going up in a lot of these games and then constantly giving up like big fourth quarter leads where the game is a lot closer, even in jeopardy at sometimes this season. You know, game against the Bengals the other week. And so they got to figure out how to maintain, like you can't let your foot off the gas. You know, like I just talked about Seattle. Seattle kind of did that at the end of that game. Now, I didn't think that was really going to be that close. Didn't feel that way. But this one did. This one felt like the Steelers might have had a chance at the end of the game, even though the Bears dominated 1, 2, 3 quarters. And then fourth quarter was like, what's going on here? And but they still win that game, and they're at the top of that division, which is going to be a tough division to get out of with the next few games coming up. Like these games coming up for 3 of those teams are going to really, really matter. So shout out to the Bears, shout out to USC alum Caleb Williams, and shout out to Ben Johnson, man. He's coaching the shit out of this team, man. I wasn't sure how he would do as a head coach, but he is a fiery guy. Got these guys fired up, you know, post game locker room. He's talking that smack, and I love it. I love it. So, the Bears. Nevermore, the Ravens win a really, really, really weird game. Where the Jets, they beat the Jets. The Jets were up early in this game. And the offense for the Ravens was really, really stagnant. Lamar Jackson looks like he's still getting back into the flow of things. I saw a stat today that he's got, I think, 2 runs over 10 yards on the season. Now, obviously, he had been hurt for about half of the season, but he just doesn't look all the way himself. They ran a bunch but didn't get a ton of yards. Now, they ran more in the second half, got Derrick Henry involved a little bit later. He had a couple of tubs. And I think they got to stick to that formula. I've always said this. I don't know why you get away from the run game, especially when your identity is to run. And we'll talk about somebody else who got away from the run game. But, with the Steelers losing, it didn't matter how the Ravens won that game. They just had to get a dub. Now, albeit against the Jets, and the Jets, have not taken off this season. So, I always say, man, you get the dub, got to get the dub. Got to get the dub. Doesn't matter how you get the dub. Got to get the dub, and they got the dub. Ravens win. Weird game. I think they'll figure it out as Lamar kind of gets back into the fold, as long as Harbaugh does not mess it up and try to make Lamar Jackson a freaking superhero when he doesn't need to be. Mayday, Mayday. Patriots win another weird game, in my opinion, against the Bengals. This game, if you watch it, take a sip here. Give me a sec. If you watch this game, the score ended up being 26-20. But if you watch the game, it did not feel like the Bengals were, to me, did not feel like the Bengals were that close. There was a long drive in the red zone at the beginning of the game. I think it was the second quarter, if I'm not mistaken, where there was like a few penalties, and then they tried to get Travion Henderson in there, and he got stopped, and then there was penalties, and then it was a very weird, like they were on the 1, then they were on the 10, and then it was really weird. It took a long time, and then they ended up not scoring. And so there was a couple times where they were in the red zone and ended up not scoring for the Patriots. But it felt like, I was like, they're dominating this game, and then next thing you know, Bengals have a chance to win. And shoot, man, Joe Flacco throws a nasty, nasty pick. Flacco gon' Flacco, man. Flacco gon' Flacco. And he did. And but I'll tell you what, man, again, Drake May, just please, if you have not watched the Patriots, if you love good quarterback play, watch how he moves in the pocket, watch the throws he makes. It is really, really, really amazing to see. Like, just his pocket presence is like, okay, he'll stand in there and just take a shot and still deliver down the field. Still deliver down the field to, and it doesn't matter who he's throwing to. Really cool play designs too. They had a couple times where fake to Travion Henderson. I think it was like a shuffle pass. I can't remember if it was a Henry or Austin, but they, very cool. Now, they didn't score on that play, which is really weird. It felt like they should have, but they have some really cool play designs. Now, they did get really conservative in the red zone, to me, like on the 1, the 2, the 3 yard line, where they probably could have tried some play action in a couple of moments there. I get it. You want to run the ball. You have a really good running back in Travion Henderson. And when it's that type of situation, you want to just get it in there, just pound it, pause. But yeah, they probably should have won by another couple of tubs, to be honest with you. The way the game felt, the way it played out. But yeah, Bengals made it competitive until it wasn't. T. Higgins, prayers up for T. Higgins. He took a really, really bad fall on a pass that was thrown his way, bounced his head off the turf, and he's out on concussion protocol. I mean, he was out. He hit the ground and he was out. So you hate to see that type of stuff. Prayers up for him. Hope he's, feeling better, and he can come back healthy for the next, maybe not the next game, but the game after. Just get your mind right, literally. So, you Winston, you lose some. You Winston, you lose some. Because with Jameis Winston, it's going to be a hell of a show. Giants lose in a really, really, really good game against Detroit. This might have been the best game of this past weekend. It was a really, really, really good game. Jameis caught a pass for a touchdown. If for nothing else, for just pure entertainment value, Jameis has to play until he just has to play until he retires. At least 20% of a game, bro. Because he is just entertaining to watch. Throws a bad pick in I think it was the third quarter. But they still ended up going to overtime. Jahmyr Gibbs went the hell off. Went crazy. On some legit video game shit. I think it was 15 carries. I think he only had 15 carries and went off for 2 and some change. And was a factor in the receiving game, in the pass game. So, he is a superstar, man. Obviously they have some guys out there in Detroit. J-Mo, Amon-Ra had a really big game and just continues to show that he's still one of the best receivers in the league. I don't care how you match him up to the Jettas and the Chases and all that. He's one of the best. And Jahmyr Gibbs is one of the best running backs in the league. Complete game. And Hutchinson, man, seals it with a late sack in overtime to seal the win for Detroit. And huge win for them because they needed that with the Bears winning and the Packers winning. And had they lost that game, things were going to start looking a little different in that NFC North. And so, huge win for them. The Giants have to be the most entertaining losing team in the league right now. They're just like, it's hard not to watch them. And they're going to give up some leads, and it's not always going to be super, super pretty, but it's damn sure going to be exciting. And when you have that guy, Winston, you know who doesn't lose? The fans. So shout out to Jameis Winston, man. He's so entertaining. Really close game, really tough fought game. They fired their DC as well. I forgot about that, but let me add that in there. They did fire their defensive coordinator. And at this point, just get rid of everybody. If you're gonna start blank, you already got Dayball up out of there. You got the DC up out of there. Just say, hey man, we're done. We're done. We're gonna make it look competitive, but we're done. Get everybody up out of there. Colt, 55. Because that's how many yards Jonathan Taylor had against the Chiefs and what ended up being an OT win for the Chiefs against the Colts. Now, am I drunk? I feel like I'm drunk. Not a Colt 45, Colt 55. The Colts were up 20-9 at one point in this game. They're up. And end of the first half, they're not running the ball. And I don't get it. Now, Chiefs schematically, defensively, they did well against the run game early. And they did kind of limit Jonathan Taylor. I mean, they went into that game saying it's either him. Like, if he's going to beat us, we're going to go after him. If y'all win this game, it's got to be Daniel Jones. And Daniel Jones picked him apart for a majority of that first half. But then it was like, okay, you got the lead. You still have to establish the run game with the best running back in football. In the second half, I think they ran twice. He had 55 yards. He had 30 of it on one run. 30 of the 55 he had on one run. Like, Colts, what the fuck are y'all doing? What the fuck are y'all doing? Now, Jonathan, at this point, they've had 2 games like that. He's probably out of the MVP race. Because there's some bona fide super candidates, and one guy we'll talk about in a little bit. But you got to at least attempt to run. You're winning the game. And the Chiefs come back, and I'm looking at this game, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck y'all. Y'all deserve to lose. Daniel Jones was inaccurate for most of the second half. I mean, he was just missing guys. And as good as he's been, the 2 games this year where you decided to make Daniel Jones a hero, he sure the hell wasn't. He's not a go win it for us type of guy. Stop doing that. And you guys were winning. I don't give a damn if you get 2 to 3 yards of carry. It's Jonathan Taylor. He gonna break one. Shit, he broke off for 30, and then you went pass. Inaccurate, freaking accurate. And there was just a look on Daniel Jones. Like, I don't know why I can't get it to these guys. I don't know why. I know why, because you need to run the goddamn ball. And huge loss for them because of I know they've got a big lead in that division, but the way these games are shaping up and the rest, like this, the last third of this season is going to look like, dude, a couple of losses might be, you know what I mean? Difference between a wild card and a first round bye, man. I don't know. So, especially with New England winning, I think that 1 seed is going to be really, really important in the AFC. And Colts couldn't. Jags are still right there in that division. Texans are still right there in that division. And if you play like that against the Texans, what the fuck are y'all doing? Shedeur, you can. Shedeur, you can. This time it really matters. Shedeur, you can. Shedeur wins first start against the Raiders, although it is the Raiders. Had a solid game, decent game, not great, not terrible. Had an interception. First rookie to win his first start for the Browns since 1995. I mean, I think the beginning of that game, he had a ball, deep ball that was on a rope. And it was like, that's what you want a Shedeur in there for. He could push the ball down the field. That defense is still lights out. I think they had 10 sacks or something like that. They went crazy too. That defense is solid. And the excitement in the building, the teammates were excited, the fans were excited. Whether you like or love Shedeur, I'm not a Shedeur guy. I'm not like, when he was in college, I wasn't like, oh, Shedeur. When he came out, I wasn't like, oh, Shedeur. But I think he is better than at least what Kevin Stefanski's been trying to tell us. And that was my whole point last week. Whether you like Shedeur or not, whether you think Shedeur should have got reps with the first team or not, I'm not going to argue with you on that. That's fine. I've seen opinions on both sides. I've seen Matt Ryan come out and say my backup didn't get any reps, but I've also seen other guys say, yeah, for sure, you never know. So maybe that's it. And I've had people say in the comments, hey, with the new CBA, they don't practice as much anymore. Shorter practices, reps matter a lot more now, and I 100% agree with that. But do not. Did y'all see the post game in the locker room from Kevin Stefanski? Now, yes, should he have shouted that defense? He shouted the defense out. Myles Garrett got the game ball. But this is where you have to understand the moment, bro. The moment was Shedeur's. And it was like, hey, Shedeur, first start, yeah, good job, buddy. And then was like, but the defense, Sampson, Judkins, who didn't even have, like, Judkins was all right. He was all right. Myles Garrett is generational. We know that. We know Myles Garrett is generational. But this was Shedeur's moment, and you knew that. And you ain't been winning games. This is all I want y'all to do. Can we at least agree that Kevin Stefanski has not handled any of this shit correctly? Any of it. Any of it. I don't care if you like, dislike, whatever, however you feel about Shedeur. I don't care if you thought he had a mediocre game. I don't care if you think he's going to be the starter to go forward. That is your opinion. I think right now he should be the starter to go forward. If you disagree, fine. But can we all agree that Kevin Stefanski has handled this shit the wrong way? That was his moment. That was Shedeur's moment. I don't care if you agree or disagree with how Shedeur had his post-game interview or with his confidence or ego, some might say. Not me, but that is your prerogative. You can feel that way. We all have opinions. But can we at least get closer to agreeing on Kevin Stefanski has not freaking handled none of this shit the right way. None of his tenure at the Browns the right way. When it comes to understanding the moment. When it comes to making the right decisions to put his team in better positions outside of that fan-freaking-tastic defense. Can we not agree that offense did look a little bit better with Shedeur in it? Even though he made a couple bad decisions, but he made some really, really good ones. Timing was incredible. He was getting the ball out within 2 seconds most of the time. Can push the ball downfield, was making check downs all throughout that game. 1, 2, 3, check down. So, I don't know. Whether, like I said, Shedeur guy, not a Shedeur guy, I don't care about that. Kevin Stefanski is a damn idiot. He's an idiot the way he's handled some of this stuff. Let your ego go, man. You're a fucking coach. You're a coach. Get your ego out the way, bro. Your ego should be about dubs. It should be about player development. It should be about acknowledging that this kid did something that hasn't been done since 1995 with all the really good, with the guy that was there that's in Tampa Bay who's a really good freaking quarterback. With guys who were higher draft picks, with guys who were expected to do more. He did what they could. He did what the guy on the same team couldn't do. That was picked before him. That's pretty significant to me. And you're just like, hey, man, good job, buddy. First start, yep. But the rest of y'all, man, screw you. Serious business. Now, we'll talk about the Raiders because they did. I'm going to do this, man. Raiders, thank you. Thank you, Raiders. You got this man, Chip Kelly, the fuck up out of here. Thank you, Raiders. And I'm telling you right now, the NFL, every NFL team should ban this man. Ban him. I don't want to see Chip Kelly with an NFL job for the rest of my life, his life, everybody's life. I don't want him to come back reincarnated and get a damn job. Chip Kelly sucks as an offensive coordinator. Absolute ass cheeks. Absolute ass cheeks. And I'm so glad they fired him. Get him the fuck out of here. Thank you. Thank you, Raiders. Thank you. And they didn't even really want to make that a news cycle. That shit should have been number one. Thank you, Raiders. Thank you, Pete Carroll. You shouldn't have hired him in the first place. But thank you. I don't want to see Chip Kelly. I don't want to see Chip Kelly at an NFL game. I don't want to see video of Chip Kelly watching football on Sundays. I don't want to see him nowhere near the NFL. He is trash ass cheeks. Cheeks. Bald Eagles. The Eagles fumble a win against the Cowboys, literally. 2 late fumbles. One by Barkley, one on punt return. Was really the difference in the loss against Dallas. Now, they went up 21 skunk early in that game. And I'm like, And then, Dallas was driving down the field. I'm like, oh, they score. I mean, they right back in this thing. Right back in this thing. And ended up tying the game. But I think a lot of what I saw this morning was a lot of people were kind of going at Jalen Hurts. I mean, he got into A.J. Brown early, and look what happened. He did miss some throws. But the fumble by Barkley at the end of the game of regulation was like, what are we doing? It was a bad fumble. And then you couple that, Dallas gets the ball back, doesn't do anything with it. They punt the ball, and then you fumble on the punt return. How the hell is that on? How is that on Jalen Hurts? Your defense should have been able to do something better against the Cowboys, albeit the Cowboys got some weapons. They got some weapons, and Dak can throw the rock for sure. But you go up 21 skunk, all my Madden players, you go up 21 skunk, you got to turn the game off. And the Eagles, they kept the game on and got and they lost. A huge loss against Dallas Cowboys because that division, Now I think the Eagles will be fine because I think they got the Bears coming up next week. which is going to be a tough game for the Bears because you know Philly's going to be pissed the hell off. But exciting game at the end of that. We'll see what drama happens this week with the Eagles and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith doesn't really say anything, but Nick Sirianni, you know there's going to be some rumblings in that building. But Barkley, man, terrible fumble, and he's just not looked himself this year. He is not even close to what he was playing last year, how he was playing last year. And you knew there was going to be some drop off, but man, he's had some weird turnovers this year, man. Weird ones. So that's on that, man. That's on Barkley and that turnover on punt return for them. Let's ram it. Let's ram it. I'm doing it every time the Rams win. That song, they need to remake that song. Rams, they won pretty handily. And give me a second here. There's a stat I want to look up. Matt Stafford, Devontae Adams, they connected early and often. Kyron Williams was all right in this game. Puka Nacua, Parkinson, he had those guys going. Matt Stafford, if you open, he gonna find you. And if you one of his top guys, one of his top receivers, he'll definitely make sure that you're involved early in the offense, early and often. And they beat the Buccaneers. Teddy Bridgewater ended up playing in this game. Baker Mayfield got hurt. Obviously, Bucky Irving is still out. There's some news about him. He was kind of fumbled and not taking his recovery seriously. And so they're still being cautious about bringing him back at this point. We'll see what happens. That division is wide open for Tampa Bay or for the NFC South. But I want to say this about the Rams. There is something though I've been noticing. They score early, and they score a lot early. But their third quarters are typically trash. Now they'll do a little something in their fourth quarters, and this has been a theme kind of throughout this year. That I think they'll be okay. Don't get me wrong, and they are a damn good team, and they got a really good defense, and that offense is amazing. And they are fantastic. Do not get me wrong. But they score early, typically within the first quarter, which means a lot of the stuff is on the script. It's their first 15 to 20, 25 plays, depending on how much you really want to have scripted to see what you're going to, kind of use more in the game, less in the game. So it means their stuff is working early, but then it's like, they come out flat a lot of the third quarters. And they went up 31-0 early in this game, and they ended up winning 34-7. So, to me, they've got to figure out a way in the second half to have a little bit more juice, whether it's being a little bit more creative in the run game. I would just like to see them have a little bit more juice in the second half. Because even the game against the Seahawks, they went up early in that game and ended up winning 21-19. So Seahawks played a terrible game offensively, at least from Darnold's perspective. And they still had a field goal, had a chance to win on a shanked field goal in that game. So, but the Rams, man, Matt Stafford is just playing lights out, and will probably, if he keeps this up or is even close to how he's been playing this season, he'll probably be the MVP at this point. He's definitely the best quarterback, playing the best at quarterback consistently, consecutively this season. On to the NCAA, man. I just, my Trojans, man. The Trojans, man, they had a chance. They had a chance to make some noise, maybe make the playoffs against Oregon. And I do not like Oregon's head coach, I'm going to be honest with you. And maybe it's because I'm not a big fan of Oregon. But I do not like that head coach. But Oregon was the better team, and they whooped the Trojans' ass. They were a better team. They're just the better team. We didn't have a chance, really, to be honest with you. It looked close for a little bit, and then it didn't. So, all these SEC teams and all these teams that are playing shit teams at the end of the regular season, we got to do something about that. Beginning of the season, exhibition games, whatever, whatever. You got people playing like the Charlotte 49ers. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? The end of the season is supposed to be meaningful. Every game should be meaningful. Whether it's about your conference championship, whether it's about playoff implications. These games should be super meaningful. And you're playing, some of these teams are playing nobodies. Texas A&M, Georgia. We can't have that shit, man. But end of the season, you got to be playing conference or rivalry. It should be conference or non-conference rivalry. At some point, they're going to have to implement some type of division and conference system like they have in the NFL. They're just going to have to get to the point where they're going to say, these are the 4 super conferences, or these are the 2 conferences. Here's the divisions. Here's the East, here's the West. And play it out like that. And if you're not a part of that, then you have no chance to make it to the playoffs. And so freaking be it. They're going to have to get to that point. Because some of these games are just ass cheeks. And at the end of towards the end of the regular season, what are we doing? What the hell are we doing? I shouldn't be turning on Saturday and seeing Georgia playing the Charlotte 49ers. It should be a Georgia versus Bam, or, you know what I mean? Like, it really should be a meaningful game. Even if it's against an unranked team, it should be a conference game or a non-conference rivalry. Period. Now, for the segment that tells you the boob tube is so good, you have to force yourself to turn off the TV and go to bed. This is Turn the TV Off.
Turn his TV off, turn his TV off, turn his TV off, turn his TV off.
All right. So I did not have Turn the TV Off segment last week or last episode because I hadn't been watching anything but sports, but we're back on Down Cemetery Road. And the whole season is not out, so it is episodic. The new episode, I think, drops in a couple days from the time I'm shooting this. So the 26th of November is when the episode, I think, it drops. And this show is funny, got some humorous elements. It's really shaping up to be like, yo. So it's I don't want to give nothing away, man. I kind of said on the 2 episodes ago what it's about. There's an explosion at the beginning of the season that leads to a young lady kind of trying to figure out what happened. What's the deal with the explosion? The girl's missing. And then it just goes from there. And the way they built the characters inside of this, the way they have done character development and story development has been really dope. Some dope action in it. Some definitely what the hell is going on in it. So Apple TV doesn't miss again, at least thus far in the season. If you guys want a good watch, if you want to wait for a little bit so a couple more episodes drop so you can binge it, that's fantastic. That's great. I get it. But this is definitely a dope one. If you have Apple TV Plus, or if you don't, go get it. Or, I'm not advocating for, just go to your friend's house. Just let's say it like that. But definitely go watch Down Cemetery Road on Apple TV. Look, I know you're looking for that, some tracks, some fire tracks to add to that playlist, to that fire playlist, depending on which one it is. if it's hip hop, vibes, whatever, well, look no further. You know I got you. This is What You Heard. All right, for this week on What You Heard, this episode's What You Heard. And shout out to Lost Perception, Grammy-nominated Lost Perception for that intro music for What You Heard. We have Tems, T-E-M-S, Tems. Yes, the Tems. Love is a Kingdom. For those familiar with Tems, who have heard Tems music, Afro beats, definitely R&B, and this one is right up. If you like Tems, if you love Tems, if you're a fan of Tems, this is definitely not going to disappoint. Now, I will say Tems albums always are like picky and choosy to me. I'm definitely going to be pulling stuff off the albums to add to playlist because she either has like really up-tempo Afro beats type stuff, or it's really, really, really slow. And that's okay. Now, I wish it's normally like A and B side with Tems. And so like you'll get one side that's more a beat on her projects and one side that's a little bit, a lot slower. I tend to gravitate towards her up-tempo stuff because her voice is amazing no matter what. That's just my type of vibe. So, this is about the same. 7 tracks, so it's a really, really, really short listen. Only 20 minutes long. So it's a short listen. It's a great car ride. Definitely a album for the crib for sure if you just want to vibe out. Favorite track on the album is I'm Not Sure. That like when she does this type of track, I love it. So if you guys listen to it, you guys will kind of see what I'm talking about. Or if you guys have listened to it, then you know. Lagos Love is dope. The first track on the album is called First, and that one's really dope as well. And yeah, so I'm gonna be pulling tracks off of this album to add to my playlist. I probably won't super listen to the whole. I have listened to the whole album, but I won't listen to it a ton more as far as a collective. But if you're a fan of R&B, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying the slower stuff's just not my cup of tea right now. But if you're a fan of R&B, a fan of Afro beats, and a fan of that infusion, Tems is definitely an artist you want to look into, and this is an album that you definitely want to listen to. So, this is "Love Is a Kingdom" by Tems for What You Heard. All right, we are creeping up on the end of the show, where every week I end it off and I give you, some things I want to talk about, maybe a word of wisdom or advice, or just expressing my feelings to y'all, man, being vulnerable. This is my narrative. All right. For this week's narrative, I'm going to keep it short and sweet for y'all, man. I want to have my prayers up for all y'all that are out there. Thanksgiving is coming up, whether you celebrate it or not, or you do like a Friendsgiving or some form of getting together. Prayers up to you. Please travel well. Please travel smart. Be mindful of others as you're out there traveling. No matter how crazy these crazies are in the streets. And man, prayers up for all you and your families. I hope you guys have a great week. I hope you guys have a great weekend with your peoples, whoever that is, with your friends, your cousins, and just love on somebody, man. Get out there and love on somebody, and take care of your chicken, take care of your turkey, eat well, and enjoy your guys' company. And please, prayers up for you guys, but please be safe. Travel safe, travel well, and be generous to those that are around you, even if you don't know them. So nothing crazy, just take care of your peoples, take care of your chicken, and have a good and loving end of the week for sure. I thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the A Ward Show. Make sure you hit that link tree. Follow me on all my socials. Make sure you follow Ripple to Wave, this show's partner, the Ripple to Wave Foundation. Make sure you follow Lost Perception, who does the music for What You Heard. Make sure you follow and subscribe to all of my boy A Dot, who does the intro. Go to all my socials, like I said. Like, subscribe, comment. Go watch the other videos if this is your first time watching. Go back and see some of the stuff I was talking about in the last few episodes. If you can't watch, then you know where to find me. Pull up on your favorite podcast sharing platform. When it comes to audio, Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartMedia, I'm on all of those. You guys have a great weekend, a great week. Make sure you tell your friends to tell their friends, to tell their mama, their cousins, their grandmama, and them. Pull up on the A Ward Show. And I'll see you turkeys next week.